So hi everyone, Joe Brewer here, and I wanted to show you a very special watershed in Barichara. This is called La Parameda, and this is one of those places that is incredibly beautiful and powerful, and it's also very degraded. So I am standing in the riverbed, which is made of rocks, and it's inside the forest. And you can see that it's basically dry. There's just a couple little drops of water, a couple little puddles here. This is one of the major drainages of the plateau that Barichara is on. And it is, as you can see, very parched and dry at the moment. Now, of course, it's not raining right now, but it has rained more this year than it has in many years. So we should have a 6-month dry season and a 6-month wet season. And in the last 18 months, our 2 rounds of dry season of 3 or 4 months without rain never came. So we had rain the entire time for about a year and a half. And the rains really stopped coming about a month ago. And so I just wanted you to see that even after record rains for a year and a half, this landscape is dry. And so what this tells us is that we're not getting recharge into the aquifers, that the small water cycle of evapotranspiration in the forest that would continually cycle water and continually produce rain and fog and mist and condensation, and that the slow discharge of water from the sides of this river, if there was a high enough groundwater table, all those things were in place, there'd be water here year round. And when we've interviewed young people in their mid-20s, they tell us that there was water year-round here when they were children. When we interview old people from the territory, they tell us that there was water here continuously until at least the 1990s. And so this is a place, I mean, just look, this is rock that water has flowed across for a long time, and large amounts of water have flowed across. And so I wanted you to see this. I'm actually going to walk over to a place over here where you can start to see what happens when it enters into the little jungle area before it does become a waterfall. If there was water, there's a cliff with about a 400-foot drop. And I just want you to see this because this is one of those places that, as we talk about restoring watersheds and bringing dead rivers back to life, this is one of those very special places where this work needs to occur. And so look what happens when I come to the edge of this flat rock area, and then it begins to drop down into the jungle. And so I'm going to try to climb down this a little bit while I'm recording. So I'll be careful as I do this so that you can see some of the shape of this landscape. So just a second, I'm gonna step over a slippery, steeper part here. And then once I get down here, you'll see it a little bit more. That from here, there's a place where the water comes down these rocks, this ledge. It's about maybe a 9 or 10-foot drop. And then it continues into the jungle. And as it continues into the jungle, have a look at this, where it drops down into boulders and rocks into the jungle. And then another roughly 300, 400 feet, it's going to become a big waterfall dropping over a large cliff down into the territory below. And just look at this. There are water pockets in the rocks all around. And you can see how the water, here's some water that's still running now. This is the river. This right here is the river at the moment. And so I want you to see this because when we talk about creating a school for children to regenerate landscapes, when we talk about an ecoversity for integrating learning activities across the territory, when we talk about how this connects to building soil, to reforestation, to preserving cultural knowledge, all these things are connected to how do we bring the water back to these really suffering, these rivers are really suffering. They really need a lot of love and support. So this is the river, the watershed. In Spanish, they call it Quebrada, the watershed of Parameda, which is a very special place, and it needs a lot of help. So I just wanted you to see it and get a feel for what these rocks in the jungle look like and why it's so important for us to focus on education for children and for adults and intergenerational exchanges so that this kind of landscape can be restored.